What's the most expensive mess a family member left you to clean up? I woke up one night to the sound of my window smashing and a brick flying into the room. A note was taped to it saying, "We found you, Ray." My blood went cold. I immediately woke my dad up to ask him what this was about, and he made a face I've still yet to see again. He dropped to his knees and told me everything. Years ago, he had a major gambling problem. He owed over $100,000. It's the real reason he divorced mom. He said part of him wanted to just give me to her, but doing so would mean she'd know the truth, and he loved me too much to part ways with me. So instead, he took me, fled the country, and just hoped to God they'd never find him. My body went through 100 different emotions at once, but before I could even consciously think, I found myself on the floor beside him, holding him and telling him we could use my college fund to pay it back. It had the exact amount he owed. His life was more important. I'd just save up again. Well, that's when he dropped the bomb. My college fund was gone. He gambled it away. He had borrowed money specifically trying to win it back. I asked him how could he, but he cut me off. Dad promised he'd scramble together money. He promised to make it right and that they wouldn't touch us or him. And at first, he stuck to his word. He sold his car for a cheaper one the next day and picked up weekend shifts. He started skipping meals, eating only out of cans. I wanted to believe we'd be okay, but then I found him taking 100 from his first paycheck and heading to the casino. He claimed he could turn it into more if he played smart. The next morning, he called in sick to work hungover. That's when the disappearances started. Dad started vanishing for entire days. I'd check his closet and notice shirts missing, then pants. Then his good suitcase was gone. I started finding casino receipts in his jacket pocket. When I confronted him about where he'd been, he grabbed my shoulders and looked me in the eyes. He promised he was handling it his way and that I needed to trust him. I wanted to believe him so badly, but deep down, I knew he was lying to both of us. The men came on a Tuesday afternoon. 3 men at my door while I was alone with my daughter. My hands shook as I dialed Dad's number in front of them. He answered on the third ring. I begged him to come home immediately, but he cut me off with, "I'm busy. I'll call you back," and hung up. The lead collector stepped closer. I offered them everything in my wallet, my jewelry, anything. He said that wasn't enough. That's when I made the offer that still makes me sick. My body for 2 more weeks. He agreed. When it was over, I scrubbed my skin raw in the shower. My daughter cried in her crib the whole time, wondering why mommy had blood between her legs. I sold my car the next day. My hands trembled as I posted the ad online. I started taking photos of myself to sell on the internet. Each click of the camera felt like losing another piece of my soul. I pawned grandma's wedding ring and watched it disappear into a stranger's drawer. The TV went next, then the couch, then my daughter's toys she'd outgrown. I sold everything that wasn't bolted down. I kept a tally of every dollar saved. Dad finally came home after 3 days missing. I exploded the second he walked through the door. I screamed about what I'd done to protect us. His response made my blood boil. "They won't actually hurt you. They want me. You're fine." When I told him about trading my body for time, he shrugged. "I wish that's all I had to do," he said. Something inside me shattered completely. I looked at this man who raised me and saw a stranger. He didn't care about my sacrifice. He didn't care about our safety. He only cared about his next bet. That's when I knew we were done. 2 weeks later, I made the payment. I had gathered 80,000, meaning I was 20 short. I paid that last 20,000 by letting each man have a turn with me. They said they wouldn't go any other way. After it was over, I called Dad immediately to share the good news. He cried with relief and thanked me over and over. I promised myself I'd put it past me and focus on the future. And for 2 weeks, things felt normal again. Dad was home. We were looking into therapy. Then came the text that changed everything. "Gonna be home late today." At the casino, just blowing off steam, I stared at my phone in disbelief. I realized he'd never change. I found a cheap apartment while he was gambling over the next few weeks. It was small and run down, but it was freedom. I packed our essentials and left while he was gone. He called hours later, furious I'd abandoned him. I explained everything, but he blamed me for giving up on family. I hung up and blocked his number. My daughter and I were finally free. Time healed some wounds. I graduated college, got a decent job, and raised my daughter alone. Then years later, Dad called from a new number. He was $60,000 in debt again. He'd heard about my success and wanted me to help him pay everything off. I told him I'd consider it, then met him at a coffee shop downtown just to give him false hope. When I saw him, he spun his sob story about how this time was different, how he really needed my help. I let him finish his whole speech. Then I laughed. I stood up, looked him in the eyes, and said he was on his own, just like he left me on his own. I walked away and never looked back.